everyone, welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Marvel's Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. Season 5, Episode 20. It's called The One Who Will Save Us All. Full spoilers for the episode. So first up, lemons.
I'm all for it.
I burst out laughing. Sky just looks over, is like, and someone left all these lemons in my bed. It's some sort of sick practical joke. It's like, oh, that's such a Fitz thing to do.
Classic Fitz.
Classic Fitz. That really cracked me up.
Yep.
Now, fair enough, one of the big things to talk about is when it references Infinity War and what that might mean. I will leave that to the end. Just in case you haven't seen the movie yet somehow and you want to avoid spoilers, we'll put that at the end and you can opt out just before we get to that.
Very respectful of us.
I know. I'm great. I mean, you're just kind of do what I say, but I'm clearly...
on this one, I am kind of just along for the ride, unless I just interject randomly and just go, right, I'm saying it now.
Mm-hmm. So, here's the thing. There's a moment in this episode, so Talbot takes Coulson up to the ship, and he's floating up, and he's got all neat over the... It's this concrete, so he's just doing it with anything. Full on telekinesis. And he's lifting him up into the ship, and they get in there. And he tells Kovas to kneel before him, and he almost says kneel before Talbot at one point. And obviously, I'm a fan of DC Comics. I'm a fan of Zod, Superman, and I'm thinking kneel before Zod. We go away for a couple of scenes. We come back, and they've given him a hair trim, and they've shaved it, so he's got a goatee. And I'm like, he looks like Zod now. He actually looks like Zod.
I know. I'm like, not gonna lie. I'll take an Adrian Pasdar Zod.
I will take an Adrian Pasdar Zod. He looked like Zod. The outfit they put him in. I will say this episode did continue the trend from the the aliens from last episode where it feels a little bit goofy.
Yeah, I assume the outfit he's in tells us or at least I'm assuming this means he's an actual comics character, whatever. Not Talbot himself, but
Oh right, okay.
With these powers, the gravitonium.
Oh, whoever he's supposed to be now is actually based on a comic character. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
The same thing they did with Sky, and then it's like, well, oh, actually, hey, Quake, Daisy.
Maybe. Yeah, because Coulson's like, oh, you look pretty awesome, and I'm like, I don't know if he does. It's a bit silly to me.
The cape was working for me. He can rock a cape.
Yeah, the cape was fine. I'm talking about it was like the circles on the chest kind of thing.
Dots, yeah.
That was feeling a little bit cheap looking to me, but I mean, just whatever. So basically, the power's going to his head, and at first he's like, Coulson, right? We'll work together. We're going as a team, Because at one point he calls himself Earth's mightiest hero, and I thought that was funny.
Yeah, and Coulson's wingman.
Coulson's the wingman, even though, because he basically implodes one of the aliens, and then he goes, alright, so they're all kneeling for me. And he turns right to Coulson and goes, good teamwork there, Coulson. He's like, aye, teamwork, aye.
Before they walk in, he's like, yeah, well, we've got, Earth's two greatest military minds on the job. And Coulson's like, yeah, thank you.
And we're going to talk about the Avengers reference more at the end, but I do want to just talk about what we can talk about without spoiling anything from the movie. Is that when he hears about Thanos, he immediately just goes, "Well, I need to go down there and fight with the Avengers because I'm Talbot. I'm important enough and powerful enough for that now. So those Avengers need my help."
I'm like, you kind of are.
And I'm like, well, I know what Avengers 4 is going to be now. Talbot's coming out to save the day.
Here's hoping.
Talbot's going to come in and
I want Talbot in an Avengers movie.
I want Talbot on a freaking unicorn riding into battle. telling Thor and Cap they're a bunch of sissies as he wins the day.
Yeah, it just dawned on me he's actually a general as well. So, yeah, for Zod.
Oh, you're right, he is a general. You're right.
Yeah.
General Talbot. Kneel before Glenn. So, but it's going to his head. You can see where it's going pretty much.
Yeah.
The whole time. It's like, okay, he's got it's his ship now, and now he's in command. Now he's and it's not going to be that long before he tells Coulson to kneel, and that's going to be a big moment, and he's going to enforce himself on the humans as well. And he goes to this meeting with the rest of the leaders of the Confederacy, and of course there's a Kree. And I'm like, he's very Cassius looking, that one. Is that Cassius' father?
It's the black splotches around the eyes.
Yeah, because it's similar design. And then sure enough, later on, he's like, yes, I am so-and-so of the House Cassius. And I'm like, oh, here we... And the music plays, this little theme. And I'm like, okay, here we go. We're doing that. And we're at this point where he's got a seat at the table. And I laughed a little bit because we were criticising Arrow a couple of weeks ago for a scene that was actually in some ways similar to this. Now S.h.i.e.L.D. did it much better because S.h.i.e.L.D. it was clear that when they said, "Oh, there's only 6 spots," and any more than 6 would ruin the balance, I immediately thought, okay, so he's going to kill one and say, "Now there's a spot open." Now that happened on Arrow with a villain on Arrow a few weeks ago. What made that? The characters were all really dull and boring on Arrow. Secondly, the reason why that was way worse as well is because you got that that's what was going to happen, and at a certain point, and then it took 5 minutes. Whereas here it was like, okay, as soon as one of them said any more than 6 would ruin the balance, it was like 30 seconds later.
And you can see as well why I liked this. All of them in the room knew.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, so 6. Okay, who's the leader then? And they're like, none of us. That guy, he's the wisest.
It's the Cassius dude who's like, yeah, this one's kind of, and he takes it as a compliment. The other dude's like, oh, thank you, yes, I'm the smartest one. You're quite right.
But he's like, hang on a second.
But then really what he's doing is he's setting him up. Oh, kill this one because he's the one who's the most threatening to you. And off you go. So yeah, I mean, in terms of that was the Coulson and Talbot stuff. Until of course Coulson is turned on by Talbot, and Hale's there. Hale at first is trying to like sell Coulson out to save her own skin until Talbot kind of starts like bashing her daughter. that's when she kind of like changes her mind.
Yep.
And when Skye shows up, she actually sticks up for Skye because no, Skye actually tried to like help my daughter when she was going all nuts.
The word, yeah.
Yeah, so she actually kind of has a bit of nobility when it comes to Skye. So that's the thing. So that was basically the ship stuff in the episode.
We're going to get to the last bit once we've done the other side.
Of course, because it all kind of comes together.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the rest of the team are prepping the Zephyr for space travel, so they're going to go up and try and give some backup. May and Skye are going to go up. Of course, Skye returns, though, and she literally just has her mum's body, or skeleton, in the bag.
As you do.
And Yo-Yo's like, what's in the bag? And Skye's not willing to give the information, so she swoops in with her super speed, and is like, what's this? This is a skeleton.
Yeah, it wasn't even what's this, it's who the hell is this?
Oh yeah. That's not the exact word she's saying, but that's what her eyes were saying. It was, what's going on? What's a skeleton? Explain yourself. And she's like, well, hey, you're not wanting to be like, getting all moral with me. And they start fighting, and then the powers come out, and then May comes out and just like, you done, ladies? Enough of this nonsense.
Right. Enough of this shit.
And that, of course, leads to the fantastic scene with the lemons and Deke. And do you know what I loved about this is Deke was trying to tell her that he had feelings for her, and she brings up Lincoln, which, by the way, don't ever bring up Lincoln's guy. I don't want to hear it.
Oh no, when Deke's like, oh, it sounded like you really love this guy, and she's like, oh, I did. I think I still do. I'm like, oh, piss off.
He's awful. He's the worst.
I thought we'd forgot about him for good reason.
However, I will forgive this entirely because I love that he was about to tell her that he had feelings for her, and then she goes on this little speech about loving this guy still who's dead. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, you were about to tell me something, and I love that he's like, I can't tell her that anymore, but shit, I need to tell her something because she was expecting something. Oh wait, I've got that grandparent thing to whip out. Oh, Fitz and Simmons.
That's a great card to have in your pocket.
I know, that's what was so good about it. It's like, that's not what he intended, but it's a card that he had there to play. So he's like, okay, I had that for safety. There you go. Yeah. And she's like, really? That makes so sense because you and Fitz are so... You're both special. You're special. Oh, dear.
And he was like, yeah, that's cool. But don't worry, won't make anything weird between us.
Yeah. So, no, that was great. And obviously, like... it's funny because I'm not actually sure if he's completely friend-zoned or if she actually is starting to have like a little bit of feelings. Because obviously later on,
I have no idea, yeah.
she holds his arm a little bit, so thanks for coming, Deke. You're a gem. And I'm like... Is this friend-zoned, or is she actually kind of starting to...
I think it's funny either way.
It's funny either way. Because as much as I was kind of hoping they'd kiss or something and then she would find out that she's related to Fitz and Simmons, because I think that'd be hilarious.
I agree.
But there was also something really funny about her making the choice for the kiss anyway, knowing that that's Fitz and Simmons' grandson. And then looking them in the eyes when they find out is just kind of glorious. So there's potential. All around.
I hope they get all judgmental parenty on her.
Oh, I do too. You were frolicking with our grandson. How dare you?
No, that'll be Simmons. Fitz won't care, and then I'll be like, yeah, Have him home
I
by
know,
10.
no, I can see the scene in my head now. Simmons will get judgmental, but how dare you go near our grandson? Have you no shame? He's basically your great nephew. And then Fitz will step in and go, Daisy, you can do better. So don't lower yourself, woman. You can do better than him.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, by the way, he actually does start to approve of, because Deke gets all the comms up and running again, because obviously the base is in tatters after last episode, and he goes to give him a high five, and Deke just doesn't get it. He's like, no, cool people do not celebrate like this.
Yeah, no, that's what cracked me up, because Fitz is like, oh, he doesn't get it. That's not a thing in the future. Oh, people do that to celebrate, and Deke's just like, no, cool people don't. He knows exactly what a high five is. He was having no part of it.
Yeah. So it's like Deke, Fitz was almost starting to like you, and now he's just going to hate you more than ever. So you left him hanging.
Yeah.
Nothing
Never leave a man hanging.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I felt bad for poor Simmons this episode, because they're examining the one alien dude who was alive that Matt gets into a fight with, and he's like, oh, I have no idea what that liquid was without looking inside him. And then May and Mac just turn their heads slowly, and she's like, fine, I'll get on it. And then later on, Skye just walks in the room and just throws a body on the table. It's like, it's my mum. Try and work out her DNA so you can put it in the spiny thing and save Coulson.
Yeah, and Simmons is like, is this the right thing to do? She's a bit, morally ambiguous on this one.
Yeah, and basically Skye's like, well, my mum, I give consent.
She basically goes, do you want to save Coulson? And someone's like, it's a bit more common. Do you want to save Coulson? Yes. Well, then do it.
Yeah. Obviously, Skye's been very headstrong right now. She has to learn to. It's funny because she's almost. I mean, arguably she's not doing anything as bad as Fitz did, but in a way she's actually being just as like, no, this is the right way of doing things. Everyone follow my plan. It's kind of the same thing Fitz was doing to an extent.
The leader thing too far.
So yeah, and actually speaking of Fitz and Mac have an interesting little moment. Kind of a clash of ideology where Fitz tries to apologise for being part of the plan to lock him up when they escaped, and Mac is kind of like doesn't go super well, and he kind of like it basically results in Mac telling Fitz that, hey, you have to decide what kind of man you want to be, because recently you need fixed. Like, this is, and I think because they were so close way back when we first got Mac at the start of season 2, they were like, he was looking after Fitz, and like having this interaction between them where Fitz criticises him for like, hey, no, like, as much as it may have seemed extreme, I'm not necessarily against what Yo-Yo did. Like, it needed to be taken care of. She was going haywire, and she was going to cause some damage. Yo-Yo did what needed to be done. It's more complicated than you're making out. Like, there's shades of grey in this world.
Yeah, he says, throughout history, there's been times where sacrificing a few has been the right choice.
And to an extent, there's truth to that. It definitely has been.
Yeah, but Mac's not really feeling that, is he?
Well,
He's like, of course you'd say that.
What I think's funny about this is it's very much a Batman and Superman debate, except for the fact that he's arguing for someone being killed. If you take that out of this equation, this is a Batman-Superman scene, the debate they're having. Where Superman's very, no, you just do the right thing always. You don't think about it, you just always do the good thing. And Batman's
a bit more realistic.
Yeah, no, you have to be a pessimist, you have to take precautions, you have to do these things. So if you take out the killing out the argument, it is a scene you could have between those two characters, and that's why I kind of liked this scene. It was that clash.
Scene that'd be great if we could get that in one of the movies, wouldn't it?
Instead of, do you bleed? You will.
Yeah, exactly.
Martha! Why did you say that name? Anyway, so where was I? I thought that was a solid scene. They were playing Mac's religion card a little bit heavy at times, but it worked for the scene for the most part.
I thought it was a little weird because you had that plus Talbot's political leanings really on show this episode.
Yeah, Talbot.
And I get with Talbot, he's kind of leaning into his personality, like he's taking everything and dialing it up.
Yeah, the whole idea is it's making him a worse version of himself. Because there's that one line where he's like, "What, are we a bunch of Democrats in here?" And he's going full.
So the idea is, on a normal day, sure, he's a Republican, but he's a reasonable man. And here, what you've done is you've taken everything about his personality, you amp it up to an extreme degree, and that's kind of the whole point of his character right now. It was just weird with Mac to have, because we've played the religion thing with him here or there, but it felt like a lot in this episode compared to normal on top of the Talbot stuff.
Yeah, it was when the alien dude mentioned gods, and he got really kind of defensive and said, "No, there's only one god." Like he really, and it was fine enough on its own. But when this came up later, I preferred this scene much more to that one, because this one it felt like more of an actual clash in ideologies and how they were
Yeah, it was
arguing and
almost
things.
not worth saying.
Yeah. Because I think it would have been better had it been a bit more subtle. Because we'd get that that's why he has these views. He doesn't necessarily have to say it blatantly so much. Talbot's basically like, he just got superpowers and he just got hit with red kryptonite.
Pretty much.
And that's how he's acting. And if you don't know what red kryptonite does to Superman or Supergirl, it basically turns them into... It takes away their compassion and their... anything that stops you from being an asshole, it takes all that stuff away.
Yeah.
And turns everything else up. Which is why it's kind of like there's truth to how they're being. It's still like an extreme version of some of their actual beliefs or or their thoughts, but it's like without all the stuff that usually keeps them in check and balance and so on.
Right, exactly. And that's pretty much what Talbot's doing here. It's still him at its core. Like, all the things that he's saying are still recognizably things that he might have thought.
Yeah, in a much more subdued manner.
Right. But then you just turn it up to an extreme degree, and that's fine.
So no, it's interesting. So yeah, there was a couple of things on the nose, and I do think some of the aliens are feeling a bit goofy this episode.
Yeah. And then so of course we covered all the stuff with the S.h.i.e.L.D. crew now.
What's the best stuff? There's a couple of small moments, when Yo-Yo comes back through, and she seems to be trying to kind of reconnect with Mac and so on, and some stuff with Deke. Kind of like, oh yeah, I've been sticking around this lighthouse even though I can go outside and it can be nice and stuff. So he is kind of questioning why he's doing that, even though it's probably because he wants to be around Sky as much as he possibly can. Pretty
much. So yeah, that's it. We get them to head up to the alien ship as well.
Yeah. And honestly, I thought the effect, the moment of the ship, like sort of like going vertical and then blasting off out of the atmosphere, I thought that looked pretty cool. I was into that.
I agree. That's not bad.
And then there was a moment where it was like they're in stealth mode and they're docking on the top of this alien spaceship, and I went, man, this show's really changed since like season 1.
Yeah. I distinctly remember the car falling out of the Quinjet looking atrocious.
I wasn't talking about the level of effects, I was just talking about we're docking onto an alien spaceship in space. Like,
okay, fair enough.
We've moved on just in terms of the sort of things we do on the show.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
There's this point here where we have like a character talking to like a council of 6 different alien species. Like, things have changed, is what I'm saying. Things have changed.
For the better.
Oh, yeah, well, that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying things have changed.
Yeah.
It's not quite Fast and the Furious stealing DVD players in the first movie to racing torpedoes on the ice in the 7th or 8th movie, but,
I like how you can't even remember how many there are.
That's 8. No, I know it's 8 because I joked when I found out the 8th one was going to be in New York that's also what the Friday the 13th franchise did. 8th was the Jason Takes Manhattan.
I love how that's your point of reference for that.
It's a rule. Whenever your franchise hits movie number 8, it has to go to New York. Unless it was already set in New York, in which case it doesn't matter. It's null. It's null. But if it's something that wasn't in New York before, if you hit movie number 8, you have to go to New York. That's the rule.
That seems like a fair rule.
And then number 10 has to be in space.
Also a fair rule.
So Fast and the Furious 10, 8 in space, they have completely shit the bed.
Do you know what the worst thing is?
It's not that unbelievable that they made that.
If you tell me 10, they're in space, I'll go, yeah, alright, why not?
Oh, dear.
Maybe the cartoon will do the space stuff.
Oh, maybe. That's good, a cartoon. That's true. So obviously Sky and May get on the ship and they're coming in and we get this sort of standoff right after Talbot's made Coulson kneel, and she uses her quake powers against Talbot. It does not. It pushes him back a little bit, but he's just kind of taking it.
Yeah, he's all right. You just see his hand flex because that's what he's been doing. Obviously, his hand just by his side just kind of clenches here or there, and that's it. Yeah,
he throws Sky up into the ceiling. There's a point where he's got Coulson floating, and it's a bit of a standoff, and he's threatening to kill Coulson, and all of this stuff, like all that's going on, and he actually kills Hale because she
tries to use the mind control stuff on him.
The brainwashing, and he responds with smooshing her into a bloody ball.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, you will comply. Compliance will be rewarded. Yeah, compliance will be rewarded, but you'll be punished, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Essentially, that just crushes her.
Yeah, and we actually, it's like, oh crap, we're screwed. And the little post-credit scene is that so Talbot's got them all knocked out, or he's got them all imprisoned. He's like, no, we'll treat them as prisoners of war. And there are a little post scene is that Daddy Cassius has been given Sky.
Because we know they wanted Inhumans. I mean,
Yeah.
we knew that anyway, but they made a point of telling us that was the main resource the Confederacy wanted, in Inhumans. And
Which is
Graviton.
interesting, because we've got 2 episodes left. So I'm interested now to see how we do all this now in 2 episodes.
Especially as we've been told that the last episode serves as a series finale if necessary.
Mm.
So it's got to wrap some things up to an extent. It can't leave
Yeah.
on a huge cliffhanger.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I'm actually a little surprised they left this late to get to the Dad Cassius stuff. I think I would have expected it maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago. But
I agree, but it doesn't feel like it's been dragged out either.
Oh,
Like,
no.
it feels
It's
appropriately paced.
yeah, it's just been separate from everything else, and now we're hitting at it now.
Yeah.
So no, we'll see how that goes. But no, the episode was fairly enjoyable. Of course, the character beats I think were the strongest elements for me.
Talbot is definitely the highlight of the episode.
Yeah, Talbot's good, and I really hope we get him back to old wisecracking Talbot at some point though. Because humble Talbot, I think, can be a solid Talbot, is what I'm saying.
It can. I think the problem is if they have to take him out now, and that's it. And
It's going to break my heart.
I know. I can see it though. Like I can see that being the thing that they have to do.
Especially when we were so upset when he thought he was going to get saved by S.h.i.e.L.D.
Do you know what's worse? I think Mac's going to have to be the one to do it.
Because he's going to have to kill someone to learn his lesson that sometimes you have to, sacrifice someone for the greater
Sacrifice
good.
a few to save the world here. Cause
Yeah.
Oh, god damn it.
It's going to be Mac. And then, likewise, Fitz is going to have to save someone. He's going to have to do the noble thing. I don't know. There's potential here, is what I'm saying. But no, so I'm looking forward to all this playing out. So I do want to talk a bit more about the Infinity War reference. So spoilers for Infinity War now for the rest of this.
Much more direct than last week.
Because I think I want to talk about it. I was surprised they did it, I'm honest. Because they actually say, there's an attack just started and Thanos is coming waging an attack on Earth. Presumably at this point it's maybe just the New York stuff. Because this is still the same night, keep in mind, as last episode. We've not advanced in time much.
No, that's true.
So I'm thinking still just New York. And again, I laughed a lot when he's like, I want to go down there and fight with the Avengers because I'm Talbot, I'm Earth's mightiest hero. I thought that was all hilarious. But so them directly tying it in and saying this is happening right now and name dropping them. And it was fun having the Kovas and Co saying, "Oh, we can't help you anyway. We can't fight Thanos and his forces."
Yeah, they never meant to.
Yeah, so I like that because that builds up Thanos quite a bit as the big threat that he is in the movie. But
I think it's really interesting because obviously a while ago we were speculating before we knew Cassius was in the Confederacy. We were going, is that what they're protecting them from? And then we saw Cassius here. I was like, I wonder what they are. Just assuming that it wasn't Thanos because I'd moved past that.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, I didn't expect to do it anymore.
I have to admit, I kind of wish they didn't tie it in this much. I liked last week when it was just like a little jokey. No, I've not had time to watch the news. I like that. I think why I don't like this so much is because it opens a bit of a can of worms in a couple of ways, and this is why I give a spoiler warning for Infinity War because we have to talk about how theoretically what happens in that movie should affect some of the show. It
should, and the thing is, I didn't want it to affect it because I just want the show to do its own thing.
At this point. So do I, because I feel like the movies are never going to acknowledge what happens on the show. I don't want them to have to be tethered to, especially in the case of Infinity War, where at the end of the movie, half the population of the universe, and more specifically Earth, vanishes into thin air.
Yeah, and the problem is now that they've addressed it this openly, if we don't have people disappear, kind of feels like a cop-out, right?
I mean, I'd rather just cop out, to be honest.
No, I agree.
Because here's the thing. Here's the problem, right? I'm going to give you the biggest problem with this, and it's a problem either way. Problem number one: this is the last season, and in 2 episodes' time, it is the series finale. The last thing I want on my goodbye to these characters is for it to all end with half of them disappearing. It'll just put this weird downer on. Because
Yeah.
this is the thing. If this is the end of the show, and then of course in Avengers 4, the Avengers change everything back, we're not going to get the moments of the characters coming back and the rest of our characters in the show being, relieved that, let's say Mac disappears. Oh, we're happy Mac's back. We're not going to get to see that touching reunion. It's going to be just off camera.
The only way I'm okay with it is if we actually get another season, because then we could have that.
Hold on. Like I say, there's a two-pronged problem with this. Problem one, this is the finale, and it'll ruin the finale if they disappear at the end of it. Problem number two, it's not the finale, we get another season. Do we have to go all of next season without half the cast, or a third of the cast, depending on how they want to do it?
Yeah, they have to be really careful about who they get rid of, essentially, if that is the case.
Because we don't get Avengers 4 until around the same time next year, which means we'll only have 3 or 4 episodes at the end of next season with whoever we lose at the end of this season.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to lose just about any of them, except the ones that I said I was okay with dying. If Coulson fades away and S.h.i.e.L.D. has to be the leader for the year, and that's all we lose, okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, the ones I can see going in general, because we talk about their potential to die, is Coulson, May, Fitz, based on their character arcs.
Okay.
I don't want Fitz to die. I'm saying he's the one I can see going, though.
I think there's too much potential with him working under S.h.i.e.L.D. next year. If it's going to be S.h.i.e.L.D. as the leader.
No, there is. But we talked about how there's the spare Fitz lying around.
Yeah, I don't know if that applies, though, if it's the Thanos snapping his fingers making them fade away. Because I think both versions would fade away.
Okay, maybe.
That was my theory if he just dies.
Yeah, I'm thinking, but I don't know if both of them would just fade away, or if it would be 50-50 chance.
I think it's because they're both him, they both fade away. But I mean, it's more of a gut feeling.
It's hard to guess. Yeah.
Than anything else. This is the thing. Like, I trust the writers of this show that if they're going to incorporate it and they're going to do something with it, then maybe that is how we get like a season of almost no Coulson and May, and have all the younger people step up and be the team and be the leaders, right? I see potential in that if we do get another season, but the last thing I want is to just lose someone else that I don't want to have gone for a year just because they have to tie into the movie.
My concern is if it's not the writer's choice that they have to do it. If it's, because we know, or we heard that the only reason we got this season in the first place was the, Disney stepped in and went, hey, keep this around.
And to be fair, we've heard more positive buzz that it might be coming back than we thought we were going to.
Yeah, so. on its own right, rather than divine intervention, as it were. But my concern is...
It still might be because of the intervention. It may just be like, they didn't have to step in this year because it was already established at the start of the year, hey, we want this to come back next year again.
Right. But my point is, okay, so if they wanted it around, are they saying, no, you're beholden to this, you have to play by these rules? Like, we need you to get rid of X amount of cast for next season.
Yeah. Because here's my problem. I feel like S.h.i.e.L.D. is being treated like shit by the movies. Because they're not being acknowledged, and they have to follow whatever the movies are doing. And while that was fine at first, at this point I've spent so much time with these characters, I'm more attached to these characters than I am with most of the characters in the movies. And I don't really give a shit about maintaining this universe between them if it means, if it means sabotaging the story potential of the show and what the runners of the show actually want to do.
It's like I said last week, I almost wish, when we'd got the time travel back, we came back to just an alternate timeline, essentially, where, okay, we're not connected to that anymore, we're divorced and have to do our own thing.
Of course, the less exciting prospect that kind of fixes all this, and it'd be less exciting for people who want it to tie in, but it would solve all of our problems, would be that no one disappears, and then we just kind of go with the idea that everything gets fixed. Let's assume that when Avengers fix the problem and they reverse everything in Avengers 4, they've not actually... It goes back to the point of erasure and sort of stops it from happening. So therefore, Season 6 of S.h.i.e.L.D. is just set after Avengers 4 in a way, if that makes sense. Like, it's back to that...
No, I'm with you. Assuming that, whatever the Avengers... Let's say it's a time travel thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, assuming they do a time travel that, okay, it's undone, it never happened.
Yeah.
We can kind of just go from there?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking, if they don't want to erase some of their cast members.
Yeah, I really don't know what they're going to do at this point.
Because at the same time, I'm like, if they just, let's just say it's like Davis and Piper who fade away, as much as that would work and it would tie it in for the people who want it tied in, it would feel a bit cheap. That it was just the...
I think that's the thing, because we were told, right, half of the population. Now, I don't need exactly half the cast to go. You can wing it, you know, one way or the other, because it evens out somewhere else. But it has to be a significant portion, otherwise it just feels like, what's the point?
Do you think that's why all but one Guardian got faded away? Because then we can justify that only a couple of S.h.i.e.L.D. characters go.
Oh, I'm down for that.
Because the Guardians, because it's fine for the Guardians, because they're gone until the next movie anyway. It's fine. But the problem is that whoever we lose, if we do lose them, and then we don't get them back until the Avengers fix it in Avengers 4, then we've lost them potentially for almost the entirety of a season.
Yeah.
And it's different if it's a character we're going to lose anyway because the actor wanted to leave the show. Then fine, tell me that and whatever, I can live with it. But I don't want to lose someone just because they're having to tie into the movie. And
I agree.
I want to keep this in mind. Now, Connor wasn't as hot on it. I actually really liked Infinity War. I like the movie a lot. So this is not me being like, I don't want the bad movie to inflict on my good show. I like the movie. I just don't want the show's storytelling to be hampered by the movie.
It's funny because I didn't like the movie necessarily, but that's not actually impacting my opinion here. I'm okay with the events rippling across in general, in theory.
Yeah,
it's not these specific events.
I'm pointing that out though, just in case some people are like, oh, I didn't like the movie, so he's just, even if they don't believe you. Like, no, I did like the movie. Go check the review out. I praised it quite a bit. So
yeah.
My concern is not that. I think at this point we're so far into this shared universe that I'm at a point where I don't need the show to follow the movies that much. It was exciting at first.
I don't need it to be in the shared universe anymore.
Yeah, because it feels like more of a hindrance on them now.
When was the last time we got a meaningful interaction? So obviously, you know, Winter Soldier, huge for the show.
Yeah, Age of Ultron was relatively, because even though the movie didn't acknowledge it, they kind of used it to set up the idea that they were like,
this is the helicarrier.
Yeah, they helped the helicarrier like come, and that was like, okay, that was the thing. It was still relatively minor compared to the Winter Soldier thing, but it was, you know, it was.
Yeah, we had Sif pop in a couple of times. We didn't, you know.
We had what pop in?
Sif.
Sif. Okay, I thought you said Sith. I was like, what?
No, Sif.
Crossing your franchises there a little bit.
No,
but, yeah.
I'm all right.
Which is weird because she wasn't even in Thor 3.
she wasn't. No, too busy on that NBC show, right?
Apparently so. Yeah. So no,
I mean, I can't think of any real meaningful interactions in the last couple of years.
No. When Civil War was happening, like, they saw something in the news, and that was about it.
They acknowledged the Sokovia Accords, I assume, because...
Oh, they did, yeah. They acknowledged that.
But, yeah, it was just like, oh, yeah, that happened. That's cool. Sky, sign that. But she's government-sanctioned. It's fine.
That actually does very much remind me of, like, a comic book event where I don't want a series I'm joining to be, like, pulled into the event. You don't want the tie-in,
yeah. You just want it to tell its own story and not derail itself.
Yeah. And the way you handle that in comics is that if you're not tying in, it's just, it's all set before or after, one way or the other. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
The problem this show has is, like most network TV, it kind of spans roughly real time.
Yes, which is why I almost wish they'd almost done something else this season and had we're in the future in season 6, because if they're in the future during the time that Thanos erases half the people, then it doesn't matter.
The only thing I think of is, again, you know, some rumors for the next Avengers is, you know, okay, so we've kind of got a time jump, right?
Well, so I guess mailed rumor stuff for next Avengers. Because some people like to avoid that stuff, so I'm just.
I mean, okay, fine, but if we have a time jump, could we do that on this show? Play from there.
That's the thing, though. If there's a time jump in the next one before the Avengers fix it, then theoretically that's like 5 years of everyone missing. so that'd be weird. Because this is the thing. I don't think they'd let them, at least not by addressing it in the show. I mean, I don't think they would let them say they're set after Avengers 4 when we've not had Avengers 4 yet. I feel like Disney would put the foot down on that.
I agree, because obviously we've got a couple of movies coming out before Avengers 4, but both of them are set. Before Avengers 3. Yeah,
they're both set before the snap.
Yeah.
Essentially. One of which, of course, is set way before. It's the 90s, and Coulson's in it, which is, hey, that's fun. Young Coulson. But, yeah, I don't want to say I'm worried, but I
kind of wish they hadn't gone down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, I kind of wish they just didn't bother. I really do. I wish they just let themselves tell their own story. And this is the thing. If they have actually incorporated this in a really cool way, like they did with the Winter Soldier stuff, if they actually have planned character arcs to deal with the fact that a couple of them are going to fade away, as long as it doesn't mean we have to go a whole season without them, that's fine. And again, if we're not getting another season, if this is the last season and I have to have my finale that's meant to be my goodbye to these characters completely like depressing because some of them fade away, I will be pissed. I will actually be angry at that.
I'm actually okay with some of them not being around next season if it was planned for, if that's the point of next season, is them coping without half the team.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Coulson and May go and the other ones have to step up, I can see the story potential in that.
Even a couple more, like I can live with it.
I feel like having Fitz and Simmons not together. I mean, I get there's potential in that, but I feel like
that's the thing. I can see it. It's disappointing because I love those two together, but I can see the story as an arc, and that kind of annoys me because it works, even though I don't necessarily want it.
It works to a point. I think it's too long though. I think that works for 5 or 6 episodes. I don't think I'm going to. By the time we get to episode 17 and we're still only just with Simmons or Fitz, whatever one we've got.
Yeah,
it'll feel like it's been dragged out too long. We don't get to have the fun split up arcs in the same way that we did. At least not with that plot line.
I mean, if we start late again for whatever reason, you know,
we don't have that shitty Inhumans this next year for sure.
Yeah, no, but if we can find another excuse,
I don't know. I mean, my hope is that ABC would stop doing it, but it would go to the Disney service and it'd become like a 13 episode thing that maybe we could do over the summer. So it'd always be set after the big May movie.
Yeah.
That could be a fun thing to do, right? I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. My biggest concern is that they disappear and then that's the end of the show. That I like.
Yeah,
if some disappear and we get another season, I can live.
That's the lesser of the evils. That's the lesser of the evils, but both of them bother me to some extent. Unless they've planned for it, and unless what they really want to do is to explore the idea that some of them are missing, and that's the plot. Because that could be good. Like, that could be fantastic, knowing that the team behind this show. It could be. But my biggest worry is that this is the final episode coming up, and it's instead of having the happy goodbye and the kind of the bow around the show and the the nostalgia hit and the goodbye and thanks for the time.
Do you know what
it's all depressing because 2 or 3 of them disappear and then there's no follow up to it.
Here's the thing: I don't even mind if some of them disappear in the end of the show because you get the goodbye. It's not a happy goodbye, but it's a sad goodbye, right? It's the same as someone dying at the end of the show. The problem is, I'm like, yeah, but they're coming back, and I'm just not going to see that. It undermines it on some level for me.
I'd have a problem with them disappearing and not coming back as well, though, because it's not something that's built up to in this show. It's something from something else that's just happening.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's not like a heroic sacrifice. If Fitz goes out a hero because he decides to like save everyone and he wants to go, and have a big sacrificial moment, that would be, it's like what's his face last season? John Hanna's character.
Yeah.
He's been gone too long. Forgot his name.
Radcliffe.
There you go. It's like, Fitz, you have to understand that I need to sacrifice myself to save. But he went out. He had a really good ending, and it was this bittersweet sort of like he saved everyone. After all of his flaws, and that works. But it wouldn't be that. It would just be fade away because on a movie he said it had to happen.
Pretty much.
It's not satisfying in the show itself because it's something from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So obviously, I mean, I'm overall hopeful because I kind of trust them. I just hope they're not being forced into too much, and therefore,
That's my concern. Is ultimately, as much as they're great writers and great showrunners, they are beholden to the parent companies, and have to take direction where they're told to, and they don't have much say in that. If they're told you have to tie into this no matter what you want to do.
The good news is that the head of Marvel, that hates the head of Disney, might not enforce them to do anything because they're separate divisions. That's why we have this whole they can't connect with the movies, because the TV stuff's still actually under Marvel, whereas the movies are directly under Disney's control.
Yes.
As weird as that sounds, because it's all owned by Disney, but just different people are running them, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they don't like each other.
Yeah, it's why we have this feud in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's same applies to the Netflix shows. It's why they kind of just do their own thing.
Oh yeah, they're in the same boat as the S.h.i.e.L.D. thing. They're in the same umbrella as S.h.i.e.L.D.
Like, I like this more than the Netflix shows, but I feel bad for them on the same level as they kind of just have to deal with the fallout and do whatever they can.
I feel like the Netflix shows have an easier time just avoiding it though, because they come back every couple of years and they're there for one. A season hits in one day.
Pretend it's not. Unlike network TV, which goes roughly in real time, they don't have to do that.
Yeah. So, or maybe they'll just set the next season in the future. Maybe they'll just set. I don't know. Maybe they'll all just be separate from everything, and it'll just be a coincidence that no one fades away. I don't know. Whatever they want to do. But as much as I know some fans are like excited at the prospect of what happened in the movie happened to some of the characters, honestly, I'd rather they just don't. Is my thing. Unless they have good story potential and they want to explore that, in which case go for it.
If this was different, if we were having S.h.i.e.L.D. show up in the movies to help out,
yes,
I'd be all for it.
Yeah, because let's face it, Quake should be on Avengers. She's powerful enough that she is no less like eligible than certainly Black Widow or Hawkeye. Like, she is more useful than those two on the Avengers.
She's gone through S.h.i.e.L.D. training just like them.
Yeah, and she's got powers. is the big thing.
Exactly.
So hell, I'd argue she's actually more useful than Cap. And I don't know, Cap's great, and
Cap's the leader. Is his thing. It's not that he's got all the powers. It's that he's a leader, right?
I mean, he has better strength and speed and all the rest of it. But I still think the quaking is a bit more useful.
As a power, useful. Yeah, definitely.
It's a bit more in line with the other stuff that they're doing. So yeah, I don't want this last chunk of this to all be all doom and gloom, but it was a concern. As soon as they brought it up, I went, oh, don't fade them away, especially if it's the finale. Don't do it.
And that's just my thing. Like I say, if they don't now, it feels like a cop out. But
I'd rather that. Like, I
agree.
Yeah, I would.
But as much as I'd rather that, and I'm going, oh, thank God they didn't.
It's still problematic, but I'd rather have that problem now. I think it's the lesser evil of everything. It's just don't do it.
No, that's best case scenario. Is just don't do it. But then I go, well, why did you mention it? Why put yourself in this shite if you're gonna just ignore it?
Because the sad truth is that the reason why they might get renewed is because they tied into it, and that's like the promotion they want.
Yeah, don't say that. I don't let me think of that.
But hey, if it buys us a season and then the season's really good anyway, I mean, we kind of lucked out, I guess.
Yeah.
But it means we only get a few episodes of a few characters maybe at the end of next year.
If we're lucky.
If we're lucky. But hey, that's this week's episode of S.h.i.e.L.D. We went on a bit longer than normal. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all this stuff. Get us on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to support the channel. And give us your thoughts on the whole thing. I know a lot of you will probably disagree with us and you'll want them to connect in as much as possible and you want the whole thing.
Make sure you spoiler tag your comments for anyone who skipped this part of the discussion.
Yes, for anyone who wanted to avoid Avengers spoilers, make sure you just make it clear you're about to talk about spoilers. But yeah, so thanks very much. We'll see you next time, guys. Looking forward to next week's episode. And thanks for watching again. Have you got any vanilla?